You look into a stranger's eyes, your hands touch, a smile appears on your face. But just 3 seconds later, an absolute emptiness takes over. That person's name has completely disappeared. It's as if the soundtrack of your life has suddenly fallen silent. You remain there with a serene expression, but inside there is a silent despair. Where did that word go? You search your recent memory but find only a blank space. Have you ever felt this anguish? The feeling that your mind has failed you at the simplest moment? Don't blame yourself. You are not ill, nor are you losing your lucidity, and much less are you an insensitive person. What just happened is not a defect of your brain. It is a hidden and very powerful movement of your invisible essence. Carl Gustav Jung, the great explorer of the human soul, taught that our consciousness is just a small island surrounded by a mysterious and deep sea. Everything that reaches this island needs the permission of a silent guardian. When a name doesn't stay with you, it's not because your mind was tired. It's because that guardian took the word and threw it back into the dark waters. Why does this happen? Why can you remember a melody you heard 10 years ago but forget the name of someone who just shook your hand? The answer isn't in biology, but in the secrets of your spirit. The real question isn't about your memory. The question you should ask yourself is, why did my deepest self decide to reject exactly that person? This rejection carries a hidden message that you need to discover. We all wear a mask to navigate society. Think about your daily life. When you enter a work meeting or arrive at a party full of strangers, you put on an invisible armor. It's the polite smile, the correct posture, the approving look. Jung called this mask the persona, and maintaining this illusion requires an immense amount of your vital energy. When a stranger approaches and says their name, your inner strength isn't focused on hearing that word. Your strength is entirely concentrated on keeping your mask intact. You mentally ask yourself, was my handshake good? Do I seem confident? Am I being agreeable? Your earthly self is so preoccupied with surviving this little social theater that there's no room left to absorb who the other person really is. The name is just a fleeting sound, while your behavior dictates your acceptance within the group. And the human mind, faced with the danger of social rejection, always chooses to focus on its own survival. But there's an even greater mystery happening at this very second. You didn't forget the name out of mere distraction. You forgot him because, at that moment, you were the only person who existed within your own mind. This isolation isn't selfishness, it's a primal defense. The more you crave acceptance, the heavier your mask becomes. And the heavier the mask, the more deaf you become to the outside world. What happens in the shadows of your mind, even before you utter the first word, is something that defies our common understanding. There's a silent conversation taking place in the air, and your invisible self has already made a decision about that stranger before he even finishes smiling. Long before words are spoken, our spirits are already conversing in secret. It's a surprising fact that our deepest interactions occur outside of spoken language. When you meet someone, your intuition acts like an instant radar. It reads the slightest facial movements, senses the energy shifts in the environment, and picks up on the other person's hidden vibration. If this inner compass perceives that the person doesn't bring warmth to your journey or represents some discomfort to your peace of mind, it simply blocks the registration of their name. Consider this. You never forget the name of the person who makes your heart beat faster with passion. Similarly, you never forget the name of someone who causes you terrible fear or someone who offers the greatest opportunity of your life. Intense emotion imprints the word on the soul like fire. Forgetting only happens in the gray areas of our lives. It inhabits lukewarm encounters, polite conversations, and meaningless moments. To your deep mind, forgetting is a form of pure honesty. While your face smiles and says it's a pleasure to meet the other person, your invisible self whispers that this encounter is temporary and not worth the expenditure of your vital energy. Curiously, the people who have the greatest capacity to feel the pain and joy of others are usually the ones who forget names the most. They don't memorize labels because they are busy reading the true human essence. A name is merely an invention of society. Knowing that someone's name is John or Mary reveals absolutely nothing about the mysteries that inhabit that person's heart. You forget the shell because your eyes are fixed on the soul. But by only looking at the soul of another, you may end up awakening a hidden force within yourself. There is a dark and unmapped region in your mind, a place where you keep everything you deny, reject, or hide from the world. Jung called this space the shadow, Often a name disappears from your memory because the stranger in front of you reflects a part of this dormant darkness within you. Perhaps that person lives with a freedom you've denied yourself. Perhaps they speak with a loud and confident voice, while you spend your whole life stifling the desire to be heard. This invisible mirror creates profound discomfort. Your being retreats in silence, and forgetting becomes a weapon of self-defense. Erasing the other person's name is a way of saying that person doesn't exist in your universe. Have you ever stopped to think that your forgetfulness might be a secret act of rejection? You don't do it out of malice. If you did it consciously, it would be a great offense. But, as it happens in the darkness of the mind, it seems like just an innocent accident. When you say you have difficulty remembering names, the surprising truth may be that your dark side simply didn't want to open the door to that stranger. This is a necessary shield. If we were able to remember absolutely everyone who crosses our path, our minds would collapse under the weight of thousands of unimportant ties. The act of forgetting preserves your mental health and protects your energy. It's a natural filter of human existence that keeps your world focused on what truly matters. However, pay close attention to the signs your life presents. When forgetfulness becomes a constant rule, it ceases to be a shield and becomes a prison. You begin to feel isolated, unable to put down new roots, and detached from human experiences. If this happens, what is your spirit trying to tell you about how you connect with the world around you? This lapse isn't just a minor memory error. It reveals that you might be hiding from reality, living in a castle where no one else can enter. And to find your way out of this solitary fortress, we need to look at the different lenses we use to see the universe clearly and courageously. Each human being consumes reality in a unique and fascinating way. There are people who walk the earth absorbing the physical world intensely. They record the smell of rain, the texture of a coat, the exact color of a tie, and the firmness of a handshake. You are like that. Someone's name disappears because it is just an invisible concept, while the physical world is vibrant and real. You can leave a party and say with absolute certainty that you met a man with a scar on his face who wore woody perfume, but you will be unable to remember his name. Visual and sensory memory has erased the spoken word. In contrast, there are the walkers of the world of ideas. They look at a stranger and don't see flesh and blood. They see destinies, mysteries, and potentials. For these people, a name has the same value as the color of the wall of a house they want to buy. The paint doesn't matter. What matters is whether the foundation of the house is strong. The mind discards the sound of the name because it is completely focused on the internal structure of that human being. And there are even more curious phenomena that occur in the shadows of intellect. Sometimes a name is identical to that of someone who caused you deep sadness in the past. Your internal radar hears that word, and, to prevent the old suffering from returning, censors the information in a fraction of a second. You prefer to fail the rules of society rather than allow an emotional wound to be reopened. Your mind sacrifices good manners to ensure your peaceful survival. These small conflicts show how your biology fights against the rules of the modern world in silent battles, protecting your essence at all costs. This invisible battle reveals a great tension between our primitive past and the artificial present in which we live. In the vast history of our species, names as we use them today are a recent invention. Our ancestors didn't need precise verbal codes. They recognized their peers by the tribe they belonged to, by the role they played in the community, and by the strength of their presence. Their earliest brains were shaped to read faces and identify dangers, not to memorize random sounds invented by society. When you can't remember someone's name, it's your ancestral nature telling you that you already know who that person is, and that you don't need a code to confirm it. But the current world demands that we be perfect data storage machines. This pressure creates a painful division within you. Your social side desperately tries to follow the rules, while your natural essence ignores the obligation. The great danger arises when vanity dominates this scenario. Think about the last time absolute emptiness struck your mind. It was exactly at the moment you started planning your next sentence. When you want to shine and impress, there's no room for the existence of others. Your self-absorption inflates so much that it blocks the passage of any new information. This attitude transforms other people into mere supporting actors on the stage of your life, and the price of this is very high. Little by little, real people become ghosts. You shake their hand, but their spirit isn't present. Reality loses its color, and you begin to float through life distant and untouchable, protected by an isolation that prevents suffering, but also nullifies love and true human connection. To break free from this invisible prison, you need a true awakening of your consciousness. Healing isn't about repeating a word dozens of times or using empty mental tricks. You need to abandon the stage of appearances and assume the sacred place of one who witnesses real life. When you stop acting to impress others and begin to observe the world with genuine interest, your memory opens like a flower under the sunlight. Abandon the idea that a name is merely a sound imposed by society. Transform that word into a living symbol in your mind. Our essence speaks the language of images, colors, and dreams. If you meet someone named Rosa, don't try to memorize the letters. Close your mind's eye and immediately visualize a vibrant, lively red flower. Give color and form to the sound, transforming the encounter into a visual and poetic experience that your soul can understand. And above all, apply the deepest honesty to your daily life. When you feel you are about to forget someone, admit to yourself that your mind is wandering. Take a deep breath and choose to anchor your spirit in that exact moment. Believe in the power of encounters ordained by the laws of the universe. There are no accidents on the paths we cross. That person whose name is slipping from your grasp may hold the answer to a question that has tormented your heart for years. By turning your back on them, you may lose the key that would open the next door to your destiny. You are not flawed. You are a complex, magnificent being full of mysteries. Choose to descend from your solitary island, abandon the armor of fear, and immerse yourself in the infinite beauty of another human being. Life is built by souls, and each name holds an invaluable story. Don't let these stories be lost in the silence of oblivion. Be part of this great journey of inner awakening. If this knowledge touched your soul and brought light to your mind, please leave a like. Share your experience or reflections in the comments, even if you choose to do so anonymously. Your voice is fundamental to our community. And subscribe to the channel so we can continue to unravel the profound mysteries of the spirit together.